Hello everyone, myself Suraj Gund from Department of Physics, Rajarshi Shah Mahavidyalaya. We will today discuss about the different types of renewable energy sources. Firstly, what is meant by renewable energy or what is meant by sustainable energy? The definition of renewable energy source is just like energy that is sustainable, something that can run out of or is endless, like the sun. When you hear the term alternative energy, it's usually referring to the renewable energy sources. But there are other energy sources that are considered alternative. Renewable energy means different to the most commonly non-sustainable sources like coal, oil, gases, etc. Okay. Next, the most popular renewable energy sources recently available are solar energy, wind energy, hydro energy, tidal energy, or geothermal energy. Okay. In general, we discuss the concept of energy, that is, as like scientists define energy is the ability or capacity to do the work. We do different types of work, from small things like thinking, sitting, walking, to the larger and complex things like motion of earth around the sun. Those all the systems which do work requires energy. Scientists define energy as the ability to do work. Modern civilization is possible because people have learned how to change energy from one form to another and then use it to do the work. People use energy for a variety of things such as walk and bicycle, to move cars along the roads and boats through the water, to cook on stoves, and different examples like this. Energy is again the capacity to do the work, and power is again defined as the rate of energy consumed or the rate of energy delivery. Energy is essential for most of the modern society. Its use or consumption is generally taken as index of standard of living. That means the amount of energy consumed by per capita is defined as the GDP of a country. The more the consumption of energy, the more the GDP of the nations. We use energy in the form of firewoods, fossil fuels, and electricity to make life more comfortable and convenient. At home, we use electricity for lights and fans. At offices, we use electricity for air conditioners, and the large portion of the energy that we use is always in the cars, buses, or generally in the transportation systems. We use fossil fuels to run buses, trucks, trains, aeroplanes, ships, etc. There are many types of energy sources. We use energy, that's why it is essential for us to know the different types of energy sources. Generally, energy can be classified, broadly energy can be classified into main two types. There are renewable and non-renewable sources. Renewable means energy source that we can use over and over again, that is always used over and over again, and non-renewable sources that are only used once or that cannot be reused. There are different forms of energy like heat, light, motion, electrical, and chemical. The forms of energy can be grouped into two general types. Energy for doing work. First is potential or stored energy. Another one is kinetic or working energy. Energy can be converted from one form to another. For example, the food you eat contains chemical energy and your body stores this energy until you use it for doing work or playing. The stored chemical energy in the coal, natural gases, and the kinetic energy of water flowing in the rivers can be converted into useful energy like electrical energy, which again can be used or converted into light and heat for various purposes. There are basic two laws that governs the energy flow or the definition of energy. The first law, that is defined by the thermodynamics, that deals with the conservation of energy. It states that energy cannot be created or destroyed, but can only change from one form to another. For example, the energy of the sunlight is absorbed by the green plants in the process of photosynthesis and store the solar energy as chemical energy in the form of food or biomass, which is then consumed by the animals and stored inside their bodies until they use it for doing work. Again, the next law that governs the energy is called as second law of thermodynamics. It states that in every processes or every transformation, some energy always lost in the form of heat, that is further or unavailable to doing work. In other words, we can state the simple statement like no transformation of energy is always 100%. That means each energy transformation, some energy is lost as a heat and dissipated into the environment. Heat is familiar to everyone because we all know how it feels in hot summer and in cold winter days. The degree of hotness of a body can be measured with a thermometer, which contains a fluid like mercury or alcohol that expands as the temperature gets risen. Heat is one of the many forms of energy that can be converted, and heat is one form of energy into which all the energy forms can be converted. Okay? It is for this reason that a measure of heat, the calorie or the joule, is the unit of energy measures. That means energy can be measured in the units calories and joules. There are different sources of renewable and non-renewable. Like renewable energy sources and non-renewable energy sources are primary and secondary. Okay, to produce useful energy such as heat, or they can be used to produce secondary energy sources such as electricity or hydrogen. Now we will discuss the significance and necessity of energy. Energy growth is directly linked to well-being of and prosperity across the globe. Meeting the growing demand of energy in a safe and environmentally responsible manner, it is a most key challenge in the today's world. In this time of global market uncertainty, one thing we do know is that worlds need energy and in increasing quantities to support economic and social progress and build a better quality of life, in particular in developing countries. But providing this energy around the globe comes with a responsibility and commitment to developing and using our resources responsibly. We are committed to protecting both people and the environment and making positive economic contributions. For developed nations such as Canada or USA, reliable and affordable energy enables the product and services that intend or extend life or make life more reliable and free. Energy power computers, transportations, communications, and cutting-edge new medical technologies. For developing nations, the need for reliable and affordable energy is more fundamental. It can improve and even save lives. In these countries, reliable energy supports expanded industry, modern agriculture, increased trade, and improved transportation. There are building blocks that helps people escape poverty and create better lives. Today, most of the energy the world consumes comes from hydrocarbons, with crude oil being the dominant source of transportation fuels, even with significant strides in the improved energy efficiency. Global energy demand is expected to rise about by 25% from 2014 to 2030. All energy productions must increase to meet this growing demand, both developed and developing countries. Renewable alone will not keep up with the demand. All sources of energy are needed to fulfill this demand. This means rising in energy demand for oil and gas, which gives the depletion of existing fields, must increasingly come from remote and difficult areas and unconventional sources like oil sands, tidal energy, geothermal energy, etc. Now, we will see how these energy sources are classified. There are different classifications of energy based on various parameters. The first parameter is based on the usability of energy. Based on the usability, we define or we categorize energy into two parts. First one is primary energy sources and second one is secondary energy sources. Examples for the primary energy sources are coal, oil, uranium, and hydro energy. And for the secondary energy sources, there are electrical energy, thermal energy, and chemical energy. As the name suggests, primary energy sources are the ones which are available in nature in the raw form, and the secondary energy sources are the ones which is directly consumed by the consumers. Okay. The next parameter on which we classify the energies based on the commercial applications. Now we classify the energy into two types, again commercial energy and non-commercial energy. Commercial energy is the energy that is available in the market for a certain price. Examples are like electricity, coal, refined petroleum products like petrol, diesel, kerosene, LPG, and the non-commercial energy can be defined as, that is, the energy sources which are not available in the market for certain price. Or examples for this energy, non-commercial energy, we can give like firewood, cattle dung, and other agricultural waste. The next category on the parameter on which we define or categorize energy based on the long-term availability. There are two categories. First one is non-renewable, another one is renewable energy sources. Non-renewable energy source can be defined as those natural energy sources which are exhaustible and can be reused, are called as non-renewable energy sources. Examples for this is fossil fuels, uranium, and the renewable energy source are defined which are inexhaustible and can be reused again. The example for this is solar energy, wind energy, tidal energy, and hydro energy or water energy. Again, after that, we can categorize energies again based on the another parameter, that is traditional use. This parameter is categorize the energy into two again parts. First one is conventional energy sources, another one is non-conventional energy sources. The forms of energy which have been traditionally used by many countries and commonly used are called conventional energy sources. Examples are fossil fuel, nuclear energy, hydro energy sources, etc. Again, resources which are considered for the large scale oil crisis of 1973 is called non-conventional energy sources, or which are not used conventionally. Examples are solar energy, wind energy, biomass energy, geothermal energy, or tidal energies. Again, after that, we will see what are the conventional energy sources. Various type of conventional energy sources are like coal, oil, and LPG. First, coal is the most important and mostly used part as a source of energy, and about 2/3 part of the country's commercial energy requirement. It is indispensable in metallurgical and chemical energies. After the industrialization, coal has become the most common source of energy. Thermal power produced from the low-grade coal accounts for the 55% of the total installed generating capacity of electricity in the country. Coal consists like volatile materials, moisture, carbon, and ash content combined all together. In India, coal mines are mainly found in West Bengal, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, and Maharashtra regions. Depending on the quantity of carbon and ash content in the coal, coal can be classified from high rank to low rank, like anthracite, which contains 80% of the carbon amount. Next one is bituminous, which contains 60 to 80% of carbon amount. Next is lignite, which contains 50 to 60% of carbon amount. And the fourth one is peat, which contains less than 50% of carbons. Another type of conventional energy source that we use is the petroleum. The word petroleum has been derived from Latin words, petroleum meaning oil. And the third type of energy that we use conventionally is natural gas or the LPG. Natural gas is available from the oil wells alone or in association with crude oil, but most of the output comes from associate sources. And the fourth one is nuclear power. It doesn't result in the emission of any poisonous gases like CO2, SO2 or NO2. Okay, it is extremely reliable because most of the nuclear reactors have a life cycle of above 40 years. Okay, until now we have discussed what are the conventional sources of energies and what is meant by general concept of energy, and how can you improve this type of energy in combination for the future of our human lifetime. Thank you everyone.